So we were given a lot of freedom in terms of what our final project is supposed to encompass. And I was having a really hard time picking a topic because so much stuff happened in England and there's so much things that I'd like to talk about. So it was kind of hard for me to circle or central around one specific thing. But all in all, I think what really kind of got me most about England was kind of what I was talking about in my blog post. And that's the essence of theater in England is actually insane. It is such a different feeling than what I get here in this London compared to the London in England. And I just kind of want to explore the idea of why that might be and why I personally felt that way and how that essence of theater that basically lives within England is so important in terms of how you learn about theater and where you learn about theater. And just it has such an impact on even when you're just going to see a show from when you're even talking about a show. So let's talk about it. The entertainment industry is a huge part of a city's lifestyle. Different forms of entertainment, like cinemas or bowling alleys, or even the theater, are a huge part of what makes a city a city. Going to England, I knew that the theater culture was going to be much more pronounced than what it is here in London, Ontario, considering that theater did originate in England and the popularity around it is still much bigger than it is here back home. As for England, the theaters are their main source of entertainment. When we were walking through downtown London, there was a theater on every corner. There was advertisements in the subway station as well as on the bus, where that's something that I would never see here in London, Ontario. So I found it really interesting that for England, their main source of entertainment was theater. And that main source of entertainment in theater is a way to form the social and political aspects of that city. Looking at Jen Harvey's Theater in the City, Harvey expresses that theater is something that can describe the social and political climates that are currently going on in that city. In other words, theater is just another form or another way to express the emotions and the things that are currently going on in the city in which they are playing. England, because there's so many things going on, the amount of theater that they have is just a way to express the hustle and bustle and the busyness of England in itself. Because the theater is so popular there, it could be a way to express just how much theater has been integrated into their social and political climate. Another quote that I found in Theater in the City from Harvey is, "Culture empathetically addresses all culture, not just elite high culture, a whole way of life." And in my opinion, I believe that this quote is trying to say that theater is a way to show every aspect of culture, not just a high-class culture. Originally, people thought theater was just for people of high stature and high class, but in reality, theater is just a way to represent a city and its cultural aspects and its social aspects and its political aspects, and really any aspect of a city. And theater is able to do that. Not just looking at how theater is physically shown around England, but the essence of theater in itself, when you're in England, is a whole nother ballgame from when we are in London. It sounds odd, but as I was walking through the streets of downtown London, especially in the Soho area, there were so many references to theater and really popular productions that it almost made me feel as if I was walking through a production myself. There was a cafe that was dedicated directly to theater. There were signs posted everywhere of different productions that were coming instead of movie posters or posters promoting something else. Theater had integrated itself into the everyday lives of England. And I found that really interesting because theater does not have that kind of impact here where we're from. And for me, a theater student, seeing how theater can be integrated in the everyday life is so intriguing to me. And it just made the idea of theater as an essence so much stronger. It's like something that everyone could relate to and something that everyone would enjoy. You know, rather than going to the cinema with your friends, you'd go to the theater and watch a production. It was like a hangout spot or a spot for families to go get together and enjoy the theater. It wasn't something that only happened once in a while for a fancy event, or it wasn't something that you could only do every so often because it wasn't very popular or easy to obtain. It was just a part of life there. This underlying theater essence that lies within England was also something really special because it really brought out bonds in my classmates that I thought could never be formed in a normal classroom setting. Because we're all theater students and really doing things that we enjoyed, I feel like the essence that is within London, England really helped our friendships blossom. And that's one thing that I'll really appreciate from the experience that I got from England, that I feel like it's not something that I could have got from an experience here in Canada. I believe that theater is such an important form of expression. You are able to show an audience exactly what you're feeling, exactly what you're thinking through the act of acting. So your story isn't a real story. You're storytelling to someone, but you're still able to give them a real message. And I find that that's the really powerful thing about theater. And that's why it's so important to me that it should be something important to everybody else. It's literally the perfect medium for someone to be able to express themselves, not as themselves, to be somebody else, but to be able to express what they're feeling. And I think that's really important because it allows a person to step out of a place of judgment. And so when going to England and seeing how important the theater culture was there, I was ecstatic. I was so thrilled. And I think that the stress that they put on theater is so important for everyone there, especially like the youth or the younger people who probably learn much more about it in their earlier days, because they can learn that theater is a really important medium and a really important form of entertainment that will, help them be able to express and come to terms with their emotions when they're older or even just throughout their life. So what I think I'm really trying to get across here is that theater essence is an essence that should be in every culture around the world. It brings people together, it brings people out of their shells, and it really allows a person to be just truly who they are. So I think that's really important, and I think I would have never experienced such a powerful essence of theater had I not gone on this trip.